Well, last weekend, the Springboks completed the worst year in the sport's history for the national side. A record 8th defeat in a calendar year and only the 3rd loss to Wales in 110 years. And, of course, all the attention is on the coach, Alistair Coetzee, during this bad time for the national rugby side. So, how's the social media responded to this? Well, with a lot of emotion, that we know, but let's see what the trends are actually saying. We have Brand's Eyes Melanie Malherbe with us, as usual, to take us through the sentiment behind the very important national issue of rugby, Melanie. So, I'm sure there's a lot of activity, a lot of volume of comment.
Yeah, definitely a lot of conversation, everyone looking for someone to blame. And as you said, you know, the coach is coming out as the top person to look at as to why they're doing so badly. So we decided to look at the sentiment towards him specifically and how people felt. So in the beginning there, where you can see the sentiment showing there, the red line being the negative sentiment on the left-hand side, percentage of that sentiment. And at the bottom, we're looking at week on week how the games went, the dates there. So you can see that the positive sentiment was there on the blue line for him when they won against Australia, and he kind of made the statement that this is setting the, you know, the tune for where they're going forward. But as you can see, straight after that, when they lost against New Zealand, the negative sentiment spiked. He was called useless and clueless. Also, the backline defence got a bit of flack for how they played. And then after that, they tied with the Barbarians. And then people said the team's actually doing well, but he's still a really bad coach. And he was compared to Sean Abrams quite a bit to say that he can't do, you know, he can't actually coach the team quite well. Then we decided to look at the South African Rugby Union, because the conversation around them also kind of came up. So we wanted to see the sentiment towards them. And as you can see there, there's a lot more negative sentiment towards them than there is positive. And that's basically related to the fact that people feel that the South African Rugby Union is run by rogues and still being controlled by, you know, the sports minister, Mbalula. They were also very unhappy about the fact that someone like Brendan Fencer, who used to play the game for South Africa and facilitated the rugby in Durban, actually coached the Italian team's defence and then helped them beat the South Africans in essence.
Called a conflict of interest.
Definitely. And then the appointed president of the South African Rugby Union, Mark Alexander, has 8 liquidated companies and 17 deregistered companies. So people are really, doubting his,
ability to run the thing.
Ability to run the whole thing, as you said. So yeah, definitely a lot of negative conversation. I think people are passionate, but they're almost losing the passion. In some way, shape or form.
Let's come on to a topic that I'm quite familiar with instead of all this rugby talk, right, David?
This was the oval ball, not the round ball.
The one that looks like the egg, right? Yes. Conversions, tries. Yeah. I nearly said wickets. Good thing. I think I should keep quiet.
You must bring your tennis bat.
Tennis bat.
Well, on to politics. The trending national conversation certainly revolved around the ANC NEC making their decision around whether or not President Jacob Zuma should step down. Let's take a look at that trend of the week. There we go, Melanie. Several mentions, I understand, being made about the NEC this week.
Yeah, several being 40,000 in 3 days.
Sure.
So quite a lot of conversation coming out there. People, you can see there, obviously, the obvious words are Zuma, President, Montashe, popping up there. Derek Hanekom was thanked for, him, bringing the motion forward. But the overall sentiment was that people were feeling that they knew it wasn't going to pass, the motion wasn't going to pass. And I think there was one tweet that really summed up everyone's sentiment, and that was that expecting of the ANC to do something about Zuma is like expecting a lion to become a vegetarian. And that kind of, encompassed what everybody was saying.
The one we always hear, turkeys voting for Christmas.
Something like that. And then, of course, the South African humor coming out and tweeting a lot of, photos to that extent. I love that man arrested for everything. Police report for when Zuma would get arrested. Obviously, the crypto's coming out, as always. And then the really interesting a hashtag emerged called Poor Baba, where people are blatantly making fun of the president and how he's almost wanting to fit in with, the legends of the ANC, but he's just not. He's kind of being pushed to the side. So a lot of those types of tweets coming out. as well, which is quite sad to see, I think, if you know, talking about your president.
And also, I don't know if this can be reflected in the Twitter, because there's a limit to the nuance, I suppose, on the Twitter sphere. I don't know. But in any other country, if a serving minister said to the president who appoints him, I have no confidence in you, must go, the president or prime minister would immediately say, no, I have no confidence in you, you will go, immediately. And he doesn't have to go through labour relations stuff with the cabinet. He can fire them immediately. They're still in their jobs, which tells you how weak his position is.
It's only a week, though, David, so I'm still looking forward to what might develop in the months to come, not to forget.
But it should have been instant. You know, that kind of questioning of the boss.
So, but a lot of people are also saying that he's got so much power about, over so many members still. And some people actually, I saw today, were tweeting about the fact that he possibly has something on all of them. You know, that they won't make the move.
Yeah.
So yeah, what we're looking at there is those blatantly fun-making tweets.
What have we got there? Nelson Mandela?
So you can see there he's trying to hold Nelson Mandela's hand, but Nelson Mandela's not holding his hand back.
Doesn't want to.
Yeah. On the top right hand there, you're seeing a file. Cannot open jacobzuma.org, file corrupt. And at the bottom, everyone else is drinking red while he's drinking ginger ale. You know, so he's just not fitting in with the legends of ANC.
It's amazing what truth comes out in the accretion of all these things together.
People aren't shy to say it out, to put it out there and to say it anymore. And social media allows that.
Very true. Well, we look forward to new updates that you'll certainly bring us. Even if it does include sports, and it's a tennis racket, by the way. How much do you know about netball?
Oh, I thought it was a tennis bat.
And that's why I laughed at your tennis bat statement.
Oh, we'll leave it there. Sometimes I just do this to make you look good, David.
Just testing you.
Of course. But that was, thank you so much for your time, Melanie. Melanie Malherbe, who's from Band's Eye, joining us for social media commentary.